Good morning. It is me yet again. It's Sunday morning, and it is time to dive into some news. What's going on? Okay, what's going on is Friday. I was going to say yesterday. It seems like yesterday was today, but it's a continuation, so you can forgive me that divergence. So Friday, I got some video yesterday from Friday about the rehearsal of War God at Spendwood Studio. The ballet dancers there have a stunning performance en route. So we're going to start rehearsing with them live for our June 28th performance. So where does that leave me? I promised I would discuss what I am doing as an individual artist to prepare for things, preparing as a musician, um, sometimes preparing business wise, but mostly preparing myself. And here's the secret: to get to a high level, you must allow circumstances to dictate the skill sets that you need. You can prepare yourselves with what you envision, but let me give you an example. I have people in our studio who want to learn everything about guitar, every guitar style, every guitar riff. And you cannot bring those things to a high level and you cannot express yourself if you do that. What you need to do is say, what do I need for today? And how do I bring that to a high level? If you do that, the rest takes care of itself. In fact, it floats the other skill sets up. But if you're focused on peripheral skill sets, then you will end up likely, unless you're much better than I am, and perhaps you are, you'll end up mediocre, and that isn't good enough for me. So, what has been driven lately? And it is the volume and EQing of my Helix pedal board. Um, this has a solo that's particularly important, War God, and it's either always too loud, it's too bright, or it's way too soft. And it's like, how do I change the volume? Volume is one thing, but then if you look at historical art forms like opera, they choose the style of singing and the orchestral instruments so that the singer cuts through in an EQ fashion. So that's what I started working on yesterday, and it has been extremely successful. And then I always thought I needed to use my right foot for the volume and to switch effects. Can't do it because if I do that, then I'm facing the audience in a way in which my playing is not maximized. So it has to be left foot. So I'm turned the appropriate way. Everything works out. I allow the circumstances to drive what is needed. I just need to pay attention to that. And since I'm slower than a lot of people, I seem smarter because I just keep doing it every single day and banging my head against the wall. It is the traditional artistic thing. So let me go to a quote. So if it feels like you're banging your head against the wall, you're doing the right thing. It just needs to be remember that if you're doing the same thing, you're playing the same scale, the same way, the same song, the same way, you're not getting anywhere. You need to be going through the painful iterations of determining what skills you need and working to acquire them. And once that happens, you're on the right path. So let's switch to a quote. Vincent van Gogh, who was certainly focused, you may say mentally ill, bizarre, whatever it is, but he was dedicated to what he was doing. And he says, what would life be if we had no courage to attempt anything? I am seeking, I am striving, I am in it with all my heart. I had a discussion with one person earlier this week who says, well, people think that my material is good. Well, that's one metric of doing it. But do you want to go around seeking people's approval? I would love to have everybody like the material that I do. However, I need to do things that is important to me artistically and ethically as well. That doesn't mean I'm not seeking to find ways that it connects with people. In fact, I'm actively doing that. But just looking for approval from other people, I would say try to avoid doing that, because then you end up like one gentleman who I spoke to who was going to give up playing uh, rock to play country and go to Nashville, so that because country's popular now and I'm going to do that. That's okay for a studio musician, but if you're an individual artist trying to cultivate some sort of message in art, that seems to be the wrong path to me. I'm not going to tell anybody where they need to go, but I am just in the arena every day, fighting, working, just like you. I will see you tomorrow.